but we'll go ahead and get started. And as people join in, they will get the information. If you could please maybe say hello and add your name and organization into the chat. So excited to be here with all of you today. My name is Kim Glan, and I manage the Cross Sector Initiatives Division for the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture. Before we get started, we want to do a little bit of housekeeping. We will be recording today's session, as you heard just now. We'll make the recording, the slides, and the answers to your questions available on the Bloomberg Arts Internship application page of our website, which we will put into the chat. We encourage everyone to turn your videos on, but please keep your audio on mute. Please feel free to jot down your questions as they come to you, but we recommend to wait to put them into the chat until we get to the Q&A portion of today's session. We'll try to answer everyone's questions during the Q&A, but if we aren't able to respond to your question or we don't have an answer, don't worry. We will provide answers to all questions and upload them to the BAI application page of our website. We should be able to get those up by early next week. And finally, we encourage you to have the BAI host site application guidelines open as we move through today's info session. And great. We would like to begin today's session by reading the county's official land acknowledgement. The County of Los Angeles recognizes that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Tongva, Tataviam, Serrano, Kizh, and Chumash peoples. We honor and pay respect to their elders and descendants, past, present, and emerging, as they continue their stewardship of these lands and waters. We acknowledge that settler colonization resulted in land seizure, disease, subjugation, slavery, relocation, broken promises, genocide, and multi-generational trauma. This acknowledgement demonstrates our responsibility and commitment to truth, healing, and reconciliation, and to elevating the stories, culture, and community of the original inhabitants of Los Angeles County. We're grateful to have the opportunity to live and work on these ancestral lands. We're dedicated to growing and sustaining relationships with Native peoples and local tribal governments, including, in no particular order, the Fernandino Tataviam Band of Mission Indians, Gabrielino Tongva Indians of California Tribal Council, Gabrielino Tongva San Gabriel Band of Mission Indians, Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians Kizh Nation, Yohavatayam of San Manuel Nation, San Fernando Band of Mission Indians, Coastal Band of Chumash Nation, Gabrielino Tongva Nation, Gabrielino Tongva Tribe. To learn more about the First Peoples of Los Angeles County, please visit the LA City County Native American Indian Commission website at lanaic.lacounty.gov. The County of Los Angeles Department of Arts and Culture's mission is to advance arts, culture, and creativity throughout the county through such means as arts education initiatives, commissioning and care for public artwork, grants and professional development, free community programs, and cross-sector creative strategies that address civic issues. And now I would like to pass it over to Mia.
Hello, everyone. Creative Career Pathways for Youth emerged from the Cultural Equity and Inclusion Initiative, and its purpose is to develop pathways that prepare youth for careers in the arts and creative industries, including work-based learning and leadership opportunities. CCPY focuses on ensuring access to the creative economy for youth of color, LGBTQ+, disabled, youth on probation, those from low-income communities, current and former foster youth, and for systems-impacted young people, and those who experience barriers to workforce participation. Slide. All right. So, although CCPY emerged from CEII, its purpose is really to develop pathways and to prepare youth for careers in the arts and creative industries while addressing cultural equity and inclusion. Uh, so now we're launching the Bloomberg Arts Internship Program here in Los Angeles County as a cornerstone of the Creative Career Pathways for Youth initiative in partnership with Bloomberg Philanthropies. Bloomberg Arts Internship, also known as BAI, is the largest paid internship program for high school students in the cultural sector, operating in 7 cities and serving more than 1,700 young people across the nation through paid internships at more than 250 arts and cultural organizations, and has a very active alumni network. Next slide. This is a proven program, a paid summer internship for rising seniors designed to provide valuable work experiences, highlight careers in the creative sector, promote arts and culture as community resources, preparing students for college success, and continuing to build upon its strong alumni network. Next slide. The program duration is 8 weeks, 120 hours. Students are paid as a living wage. This every week, students will participate 3 days in an internship at their host site. And then the other 2 days, they will participate in what we are calling program days at the regional hub site, which will focus on work-based learning, creative career pathways exposure, skill building, mentorship, academic and career enrichment, and arts and cultural excursions. Next slide. So we're approaching this with a regional strategy. Year 1 will involve 50 interns from 5 service planning areas with 10 interns per spa. This is a model that the county uses to distribute services regionally, as you can see on the map. In year 1, we will focus on Antelope Valley, San Fernando Valley, Metro Los Angeles, South Los Angeles, and East Los Angeles. There is a nifty tool embedded within the the whole site guidelines that will allow you to determine which service planning area you are in. If you're not located in one of the 5 service planning areas, then you might want to consider applying in the future when we expand to all regions. And we'll talk a little bit more later about that later. Year 2, we will expand to 64 interns in 8 spas and 80 interns the following year. Thanks. Intern wages are fully covered by this grant. So the grant application is to receive those funds. In addition to the intern wages or interns, because each organization will be hosting 2 interns, there will be a $2,000 administrative stipend to cover any administrative costs. Capacity building is at its core because these are the real benefits, is to be able to also build your own internal capacity at your organization. And so the intern will be involved in your projects and initiatives, but you'll also be developing future talent and providing future future creatives with their very first opportunity in this industry. And so last but not least, we really want to focus on contributing directly to fostering diversity and equity within our cultural sector here in Los Angeles County. While you're doing that, you will receive program support from a very well-structured, organized program framework, both nationally and locally. And I will turn it now over to Shari.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shari Holly, and I'm the program specialist for the Bloomberg Arts Internship Program. And I really want to focus on the fact that this is unique, that this is the intern-first internship program. So as Mia and Kim both stated, equity really is at the forefront of this program. And when I say equity, it's very different from equality, right? Like we want to give students what they need to be successful. Exposure. The earlier their exposure, the more likely they are to pursue arts as a career. And as we all know, paid high school internships are extremely rare. So that's why this program is so special. and so unique and impactful because there's virtually nothing that exists like it, supporting high school students before they graduate and really exposing them to the arts before they enter the workforce. Support. We have to keep in mind that with these, as a work site, that these students will need additional support because for all of them, if not most of them, this is their very first job, their very first opportunity where they have accountability, where they're being paid, they're making their own money. So with that, and this weaves right into equity, it's really important for work sites to remember that students will need additional resources and support throughout the duration of their internship. Resources. We want to inspire students, obviously, to prepare to pursue arts as a career, but also arts as a community resource. Throughout this program with exposure and working at their work sites, we want to inspire them to explore the arts in their neighborhood and to understand that LA County has such a vibrant, alive, and rich arts and culture community, and we want to expose them to that so they can pursue it as a career, yes, but also as just an everyday resource. And lastly, connection to the art itself, the work, connection to their city, LA County, to their peers, and more importantly, to their work. So we spoke about BAI's summer program, but there's also a school year component. So we are doing this year round. So with the school year program, is the same as the summer program, but on a much smaller scale. So BAI school year consists of a program that runs from September through May or June. So we're really focused on fall and spring semesters for high school students. Again, we will pay them a living wage. It will be a smaller percentage of the cohort, and we are really making sure that we're flexible with the students because they will be in school, obviously, for the school year. So we are allowing flexible schedules. So they'll be working 5 to 10 hours versus full time. And again, our focus is really just ongoing work-based arts learning, college application support, college prep, focusing on their transition to college, and then hands-on mentorship. I'll pass it back to Mia.
Okay, so some of you are probably wondering, how is this different from the county's long-standing college arts internship program? And first and foremost, AIP is focused on undergraduate college students, and Bloomberg Arts Internship is focused on rising public high school seniors only. And so when students begin their internship, they will be in the summer prior to their senior year. For BAI, it is a 120 hours a week summer program, and AIP, it's 400 hours over a span of 10 to 27 weeks. The hourly pay is noticeable. The minimum wage for AIP and the current national living wage for BAI. That's an awesome added bonus. And so in addition, visual arts galleries and museums, including colleges and universities, are included in BAI, whereas with AIP, they're excluded primarily because of our partnership with the Getty Merrill program. The administrative stipend that I mentioned is a flat rate for hosting 2 interns at each host site for BAI, whereas it is conditional for AIP. $750 is offered for organizations with a budget of under $500K. And last but not least, what's most important is the program's focus. BAI is really an early workforce readiness and college prep program, meaning that this is likely their first job, their first opportunity in the arts and creative sector. And the AIP program, they may be their last work-based learning opportunity before they enter the sector in their first real job. Next slide. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Kim.
Thank you so much. Okay, organizational eligibility. The following organizations are eligible to apply to LA County BAI. Nonprofit arts organizations, so performing, presenting, film, media arts, arts service, visual arts, and literary arts organizations. Nonprofit cultural organizations, those organizations focused on preserving and promoting culture, history, and/or heritage. Fiscally sponsored organizations, which are for-profit arts or cultural organizations that have a comprehensive Model A sponsorship agreement from a verified California-based fiscal sponsor. The fiscal sponsor will be the applicant of record. Local arts agencies and municipal performing arts organizations, so 501c3 or municipal organizations in LA County that serve as an agency of city government officially designated to provide arts or cultural programs and services. And then colleges or universities, nonprofit arts and presenting organizations, departments, and programs that are part of a college or university. For this first year, eligible organizations must have their principal or physical offices located in Los Angeles County and have a satisfactory internship work site in one of the following Los Angeles County service planning areas. As Mia mentioned, we are doing a regional framework. I put the link in the chat, but so if you want to scroll up there, you should see a link to a handy way for you to check to see which spa you're located in, which you can find also on page 4 of the guidelines. Next slide. Organizational responsibilities. Organizations will each host 2 BAI interns 3 days per week in person for 8 weeks in the summer. Bloomberg Philanthropies has determined over many years of implementing this program that 2 interns per organizations is the most successful model, especially for this age. Organizations can be of any scale, but they must have an arts-based project or work plan that interns are committed to for the duration of their program, a dedicated space where the interns can work on their projects, and a staff member who will serve as a supervisor to guide and coach the interns. Internships are intended to expose interns to professional pathways in the arts and culture sector. Ideal organizations will have a history of providing educational programming and or have prior experience working with high school students. The expertise of the managing staff supervisor and a demonstrated capacity to work effectively with high school students will be key factors in the selection process. And now I want to pass it to Shari.
Okay, let's talk about worksite requirements and more particularly supervisors. So every intern must report into a supervisor. As you'll see in the application, we do ask for information about who the interns will report into. So every supervisor, because we are working with minors, must complete a live scan background check. One supervisor, as I mentioned before, can be assigned to both interns that you host, or if you identify a second supervisor, that's totally fine. We just ask that the supervisors complete an evaluation at the end of the internship, as this is our very first program that we're launching in LA County. So data and feedback is going to be incredibly valuable, and we value our supervisors' feedback. So we will have you complete an evaluation. And then also it will be their supervisor's responsibility to make sure that interns complete both intern organization agreement form and also a mandatory pre and post survey. With the supervisors, we will be hosting a supervisor orientation in the spring of 2026. And this is basically just for best practices. We can't assume that everyone has supervised high school students before. As we know, they need different things, they need additional support. So we just want to make sure that we're here to support you and that you understand that we are in this together, and making sure that we discuss best practices and answer any questions that you may have prior to the start of the internship. Now with this, California requires for 16 and 17-year-olds, which is the demographic for this internship, to have a work permit prior to starting their internship. They permit them to work up to 8 hours on non-school days, and then up to 48 hours per week between the hours of 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. Interns must secure this document. It's called a permit to employ and work. So the permit to employ and work are both on the same form, and they can obtain this form from the designated person at their high school. I do want to note and stress that it is the work site's responsibility to make sure that both of their interns have their work site permits prior to starting work.
Awesome. Okay, let's talk about outreach, recruitment, and hiring. As indicated in the guidelines, organizations are responsible for outreach, recruitment, and hiring the interns. To contribute to the success of the program, we are asking that host sites hire students who live in the service planning area in which they are located. In this way, we can ensure that we're not asking 17-year-olds, for example, to travel across the vast geography of the county. The Department of Arts and Culture will definitely assist with outreach. We post to available positions on our website, send out email announcements, post on our social media, and we also will share with the school districts that we work with through our LA County Arts Education Collective. Through that collective, we do work with 80 of the 88 school districts in the county. All right, next slide. Grant amounts. Okay, so each worksite organization will be awarded a grant of $8,676. This breaks down to $4,338 per summer intern, which covers both their hourly wages for 120 hours plus 30% for payroll taxes. As Mia mentioned previously, interns are paid a living wage, which according to the MIT calculator for LA County is $27.81 per hour. Each worksite organization will also be awarded an additional $2,000 to cover administrative costs, including such things as live scans for intern supervisors, insurance, etc. Okay, timeline. There are a few key dates I want to highlight today. Obviously, the application deadline, most important, which is November 19th at 11:59 p.m. Our staff will not be available to assist with any application issues after 5 p.m. that day, so we highly encourage you to submit your application early. By January 23rd, you will hear from us whether or not you've been selected. From January 26th to February 13th, we will conduct site visits, particularly for those organizations who are new to our department. By March 30th, contracts should be fully executed. By April, intern positions should be posted and outreach and recruitment should be happening. In May, we will hold a mandatory supervisor orientation. May 22nd is the recommended hiring deadline for your interns to ensure that work permits and all necessary paperwork can be completed in time for the start of the program. On June 15th, the 8-week summer internship begins. This is a pretty firm schedule to accommodate LAUSD's school schedule, so we don't have a lot of flexibility. Bloomberg Philanthropies does not allow any remote work because they found that in-person internships lead to more rich experiences for the participants. So unlike the LA County Arts Internship Program for college students, we do have a very dedicated window during which all internships must take place, June 15th to August 7th. And then we will reach out to participating organizations in the summer with an application for BAI school year. And now I'd like to pass it to Mia.
All right, now I'm going to talk a little bit about the intern worksite project. And I really encourage you to refer to the host site guidelines because it'll go into detail, but it'll also provide you with specific directions on how to fill out the application. So for intern projects, they should be non-administrative and tailored to the intern's interests, applying professional skills, but also serve a real organizational need. Interns should be able to have a freedom of ideas and be able to also use their own creativity. There is a component where they will provide some form of a summary presentation. And so we want to make sure that they are able to incorporate their own learning and their own contributions. Professional reflection is encouraged, and with interns and supervisors exploring self-care and well-being in a professional context. So really just wanting to make sure that there's a relationship that's created there, but also so the interns feel safe and communicating their thoughts and concerns. The projects should be clear and have deliverables to maximize learning within that 120 hours, which is 15 hours per week, as Kim mentioned. Next slide.
So I just want to take this moment, obviously it's a lot of information, just to reflect because as I mentioned earlier in this presentation, for this experience for a lot of these high school students are going to be their very first job opportunity, the very first time where they collect a check, where they're exposed to this industry. And so I would just love to reflect, no need to share in the chat unless you feel led to, but just think about who opened that door for you. You know, who opened that door for you? Who introduced you to someone that catapulted your career? Because we all started somewhere, right? And this is very important to set the tone for this internship program because we are dealing with high school students who are still figuring life out and may not know what they want to do yet post grad. So I would just challenge you just to reflect now and throughout the internship, should you be selected, who opened the door for you, gave you your first opportunity, and how did this inspire your journey to now? Because we all have a story. So I just wanted to pause and reflect on that before we get into the application. Now I'll pass it to the wonderful Jackie.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jackie Pimentel, and I'm a program specialist with the cross-sector initiatives for the department. And I'm just going to go and talk to you about the BAI application, and you'll find it in the SurveyMonkey Apply program. And we'll get more about get more into SurveyMonkey Apply in just a minute, but I just wanted to go over the application itself. So when you go into the system, you'll find out there's going to be 6 different sections. The first section you're going to go into is the eligibility requirements. That is different from the eligibility profile that you created when you first signed up with SM Apply. This part of the application is going to ask you which label your organization falls under. From there, you're going to answer a series of questions that will determine your eligibility based on what is listed in the guidelines, what was previously discussed. You will answer a question about your spa location, as mentioned before by Kim, and there'll be a link to that section to check where your spa location is in the application. If you do have a worksite location that's in more than one spa, you just have to select only one spa location. That's very important. The next part of the application is your 501c3 verification. And then from there, moving on, you'll be going into the application, the main application itself, the 2026 BAI host site application. This is where you're going to be inputting everything. You'll be filling out your organization's information again, main point of contact, programmatic discipline, mission statement, internship positions information, internship projects, the workspace descriptions and locations, supervisor information and qualifications, additional supervisor information, and how interns should apply to the internships. This is where you'll be spending most of your time for the application. The next part of the application would be the supplemental materials. So this is very important. Current grantees of the department's OGP and AIP are not required to submit supplemental materials. Only the online application is required. No other attachments are needed. Applicants who are not current OGP or AIP grantees must submit the following documents in addition to the online application. So what those documents are one copy of the organization's 501c3 determination letter, one of the followings, so a copy of the organization's SMU Data Arts OGP funder report. This is recommended. Organizations that have never been an OGP or AIP grantee may input their financial and organizational data into SMU Data Arts and download a report for this application. So SMU Data Arts gives an organization's ability to track and analyze your data over time, as well as compare your organization with similar types of other organizations. So most of the participating funders require that applicants complete a cultural data profile or a CDP for each fiscal year. And then for this, you would have to plan about 10 to 15 hours completing each CDP. Or you can submit a copy of an audited financial statement for the applicant or applicant organization's most recently completed fiscal year for a tax year ending on or after June 20th, 2023, or a financial report prepared by an accountant and signed by the board president or chair, or signed federal tax returns or a tax year ending on or after December 31st, 2023. You also will have to submit one copy of the history and background of the organization. Details for that will be details with that are and what is required is listed in the host guidelines. It also is listed in SM Apply. Also a list of recent notable programming or projects. Which will include newly applying fiscally sponsored organizations must be Model A with the certified state of California-based fiscal sponsor. They must also provide a copy of the agreement or verification letter from the fiscal sponsor and a copy of the fiscal sponsor's 990 listing a state of California address. The next section of the application will be the Levine Act compliance, or what is called the contribution and agent declaration form. So basically, this is a new California legislation that prohibits certain appointed or elected officials, officers, including the Board of Supervisors, from taking part of decisions about awarding contracts, grants, licenses, or permits if they received a political contribution of more than $500 in the last 12 months from a bidder or proposer or an applicant. So in order to comply with this, California state law requires you to disclose information about any contributions made by certain individuals that represent your organization or agency. So this is a required component of your online grant application. So reporting contribute to this, reporting contributions will not disqualify you from the grant program. Failure to respond will result in immediate disqualification of the application to the grant program without exception. No grace periods will be provided to complete this requirement. And then I'll also provide a link in chat once I'm finished here to learn more about this section. And then the final step in the application process is the finalization and attestation. It just basically means you're signing that everything that you input in your application is true and correct. The person who will be the final sign off has seen the application and is authorized to represent your organization and sign off the submission. Next slide, please. So this next section is just a little bit about SurveyMonkey Apply. I feel like a majority of the people on the call may have already been in the program, but if you haven't done so already, this is just the new registration process for those who haven't yet. So our site can be accessed with the link you see on your screen. To create a new account, click the green register button on the upper right-hand corner. When creating a new account, please have one account per organization. Login information should be shared with relevant staff. And when asked what type of applicant are you, please select organization. From there, you'll be taken to a registration page, put in your account information, and then you'll verify your email that you signed up with and finish the registration. This is important to make sure to verify your email, or else the system will give you some glitches when you're trying to navigate the website. Next slide, please. So navigating menus. Oh, next slide. Thank you. Navigating menus. The blue top right box, you'll see where you see your name. You'll hit the arrow going down, and the drop down will appear to show you the My Account button. If you click that button, you'll be able to see your profile picture, your personal info, your site and notification settings, time zone and preferred language, eligibility profile, and just a reminder, when you go in there, you can update any information for your organization if you move or any contact info changes. And then if you go to the salmon pink box that's in the top middle of the screen in the programs tab, you go in there and you can get the homepage to view, open, and see all the available grants. Go there to open any new applications. And then most of the time you'll see it blank when it's not grant season. And then on the right of that, you'll see a green box, and then the tab is labeled My Applications. That is just going to be where your homepage for all of your open applications. Past applications will be available until archived, and all open BAI applications can be reviewed and accessed there. Next slide, please. Thank you. So some tips for success. So create a profile for your organization, not individual staff. You keep your login information in an accessible place for all necessary staff, and then draft the application responses in a Word document and then paste them into an application later. That will help you with formatting issues, trust me. And then submit your application at least 3 to 5 days in advance of the deadline to allow any time to resolve any technical issues. Again, there will be no staff to assist after 5 p.m. on the day of the deadline. We cannot stress that enough. So please get your applications in as early as possible. Thank you.
So I'll be talking about the review process. Successful applications will be reviewed by a panel of your peers, and they will demonstrate an engaging arts and arts and programming project where an intern is able to make a meaningful contribution, that they'll be able to provide their own contributions in terms of creativity, thoughts, and ideas. Strong applications must show a clear capacity for mentoring, guiding, supporting, and empowering a high school intern, ensuring a positive and educational experience. In the final stages of worksite selection, though, there will be a balanced set of considerations that we have to apply. And those are uh, kind of, we say, um, in the last iteration, right? So after you all have been scored and maybe your application is a good score, we will also have several factors to consider in the final selection. And these are not limited, including but not limited to communities that are served. So we will assess the diversity and reach of the communities that the host site is currently engaging with, prioritizing those that serve underserved populations are also a considering factor. The geographic location of the internship will be critical. The location of the internship should be in proximity to where the student lives or attends high school, as well as their regional hub. We are also going to look at a wide array of artistic and cultural disciplines to ensure that we expose young people to different fields, but this also will include performing arts, heritage preservation, and community arts. There will be whole site programming that we'll review in terms of your proposal and really your overall ability to provide a dynamic learning environment. And the intern project description or position description for the interns are paramount. They must be well-defined, engaging, and offer clear opportunity for the interns to gain practical skills, but also to make meaningful contributions. And so experience working with managing or creating programs for young people will be of consideration and will be highly regarded because this demonstrates a clear understanding of the unique needs of this age group. And so these considerations collectively ensure that our selected host sites are meaningful, impactful, and are going to serve those young people in their ability to foster their own career paths. And that is it for me, and I will turn it over to Shari.
Okay, hopefully you're still with us. We're at the end. We're wrapping up. I just want to have some final reminders for everyone. Some important dates I want to bring forward are, again, the application deadline is November 19th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. November 19th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please.
11:59 p.m.
11:59. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Kim. 11:59. I'm so sorry. Please make sure to get your application in, to Jackie's point, before the deadline, please. So that way, if you do have questions or concerns or anything comes up, we're able to assist you. We plan to notify potential work sites no later than January 23rd, 2026. And then all signed contracts and invoices will be due by March 30th, 2026. And we do plan to post the position on April 8th, 2026 on www.lacountyarts.org. If you have any other questions after this presentation, feel free to reach out to myself, Shari, or Mia, and we'll be able to assist you at the email on the screen, bai@arts.lacounty.gov. And then before we transition to Q&A, I just want to remind everyone that, again, this is our inaugural program. We've never done this before. We're very excited, but we are building this program together. So our work sites, our regional hubs, LA County, we are all in this together. It's a hyper collaborative program model that we will set the tone for years to come. So we really want your feedback. We really want your questions, any ways we could support you or show up for you will be crucial as we build this program out. Also, if you know of other organizations that should be a part of this or should know about this, feel free to share our flyer, to share our link so they can be involved. The Power collaboration and word of mouth is powerful. So we would appreciate any referrals or send this to your networks. And then lastly, just thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And we can't wait to see what this program holds. So with that being said, I will transition to question and answer section, Q&A.
Can I just pop in for one quick second? I also want to encourage you all that do serve high school students, that do serve 11th graders, to recommend them to apply for the program. How awesome would it be to have some of your own participants as your interns potentially? So there's that kind of double ask of identifying potential host site organizations, also young people who might want to participate as an intern. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all so much. I really want to commend Shari, Jackie, and Mia. You are all awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to get to questions. I'm going to start with the questions in the chat. Feel free to, if you haven't put your question in the chat yet, or if a question comes up as we're talking, you could add it to the chat or raise the hand emoji. And the first question that we have is, are CIAG grantees eligible to be a host site, I think is the question from Lady. Am I pronouncing that right? Probably not. I apologize in advance for butchering your name. So community impact arts grantee organizations are not eligible for this particular internship program because, again, like, we're following a national Bloomberg philanthropies model and implementing it here in LA County. And that particular model is internships for rising public high school seniors at arts or cultural organizations. So not just social service or social justice organizations that might have an arts program. So that's why you don't see CIAG in as one of the eligible organizations in the grant guidelines. Next, Michelle asked how many total hours. Sorry, Michelle, I saw that you got your question answered, but I'll lift it up anyway, just in case. The total number of hours that interns are required to work is 120 hours over the 8-week period. It works out to about 5 hours per day, 3 days per week during that time period. Nina asked, was the 990 required in addition to the financial statement, in parentheses, audit or SMU report? Nina, that 990 is only required if for fiscal sponsors, those organizations who are applying as the applicant of record for another organization. I hope that answers your question, but if you're still want more clarification, feel free to come off of mute. Okay.
No, I actually, I'm so sorry. Thank you. I wanted to know, because I understand that it's the SMU or an audit from your CPA or financial audit, but then I also heard and the 990. So I didn't know if it was one or the other of them required, or could the 990s replace the audit?
The 990 is only something that we're asking for the fiscal sponsor.
Okay, now I understand. Thank you.
Polio. Ava asked or stated, we are located in Lawndale, Spa 8, South Bay. Are we eligible to apply? Ava, unfortunately, for this first launch year, we are concentrating on 5 of the 8 spas, which are in the guidelines and do not include Spa 8. However, pleased to note that starting in 2027, we will be we'll open up applications to organizations in all 8 spas. So we're doing this mainly because, again, like in working closely with the Bloomberg Philanthropies team, what they've learned over the years is to start with a size, a right size that works. and to scale up. So we're biting off a chunk we think we can successfully achieve, and that's why we're starting with just 5 of the 8 spas. The county is gigantic, as you know, and unlike with the arts internship program for college students, again, like we don't want to create a situation where high school students are driving all the way across the county to get to their work site. So that's why we're taking this regional approach. Okay, in the Q&A, we had a question. When in the process should it be verified that the intern candidate lives within the spa during the interview before making an official offer? Who verifies this, the worksite or the county? That is a really good question. I would say it's probably going to be a yes and. Yes, you should be asking that question as part of your application, when interns are applying. Again, it's going to suit you better if the students are in your, local community, because it'll be way easier for them to get to your site. It'll be a lot more reliable of an experience and a better experience. And we can also assist and check with that as well. Now I want to move to the chat over here. Okay. For summer, if the program supervisor is on vacation, will someone else be able to work with the students for that week? Katie. Yes, so the host site, the work site, would be the entity that would be responsible for ensuring that if one of the supervisors happens to be out on vacation, there's another qualified supervisor connected with that organization that would be there to supervise the interns. That's not a support service that we would be able to provide. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. I was just thinking because we're an educational organization, sometimes summer is the only time that some of our um, managers can take off. So I wanted to make sure that another coworker or something could be there present with the interns that week or something, and that they
Yeah.
didn't have to have the same. I know there can be a secondary supervisor, but I wanted to just make sure that it didn't have to be that same person for the full 8 weeks.
Totally can be more than one person. We totally get it. And also
Okay.
just to think about, it's really only 15 hours out of
Yeah.
that 40 hours that you're, yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Awesome. For the eligibility question, are you a performing, presenting film, media arts, art service, visual arts, or literary arts organization? Does it need to be a yes to be eligible? If you are Miki, sorry, I'm terrible. I'm from Ohio, and that's my excuse. I can't pronounce anything. So I want to make sure I understand your question or that I answer it correctly. I think what you're saying is you see your organization as an arts organization, but you're not seeing yourself reflected as a performing, presenting film, media arts, art service, visual arts, or literary arts. Do I have that correct? Because
yes, that is what I'm saying, because we are an arts and cultural organization, but the closest thing out of these options would be art service, but there's no way, like there's no place to explain that further. So I did answer as I'm going through the questions that as no, and it didn't ding me or anything, but I'm wondering if that is the eligibility question, that it has to be yes.
it should give you the option to
Cultural.
to select a nonprofit cultural organization,
I
or
don't see that.
in the SM apply. Are you looking at the SM apply right now?
Yes.
Okay.
I think she's on the eligibility section and not the actual in-depth application.
No,
Got it.
I'm in the first section under eligibility requirements of the BAI program.
Yeah, she's in that section, not the one that we're thinking where is that what you're thinking, Kim?
No, I'm just trying to sort through
Okay.
how to answer her
I know that
question.
there's the other one where you can explain, and that's more in depth in yeah,
Like a
So
checklist. There's a
the
checklist.
checklist. That's the checklist one. That's the one where that's more in depth where you
Hmm.
can explain more
You should
about your
find
work.
yourself on the checklist.
That's the actual in-depth application. That's the third step.
oh, so I
Uh,
would say you're not ineligible and you don't need to worry about explaining it because later when you'll have an opportunity to select one that's actually appropriate for your organization. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, I'm not seeing that on the Survey Monkey. Am I looking in the wrong place?
Yeah, so in the SurveyMonkey, when I talked about the different sections, you're in the first section. What
Mm-hmm.
what I'm stating is that you're not ineligible from what it sounds like. When you go continue in the application to the more in-depth part, it's gonna have a
Is that the 2026 BAI program host site
yes.
application? Okay,
Yes,
yeah,
it's gonna
I
be a
didn't see
checklist.
it there either as a checklist.
There should be like at least like I think a selection that says other or cultural organization that you
Oh,
can
yes, number 5.
yeah, and then
Okay.
you can explain from there what your organization. Yeah,
Okay,
you're
great. Thank you.
welcome.
Awesome. Okay, got that solved. I'll switch over to, I see Hoel has his hand raised. Hoel, do you have a question?
Yeah, just a point of clarification. So you mentioned that administrative duties for an intern would not be something that is eligible for this opportunity, correct?
I think ultimately what we're trying to ensure is that the intern has a rich experience and isn't just like typing up notes, for example. I mean, I'll turn it over to Mia in case you want to address
Mhm.
Hoel's question.
For
Sure.
example, like coordinating with students, like peers who are participating in the program, that'd be appropriate.
Yes.
Okay,
So the main thing is it's not that their role cannot have administrative tasks assigned. It's just that the role can't be specifically for administrative tasks only. So like a receptionist role from the entire time that they're in the program would not be an ideal situation.
awesome. Thank you for clarifying.
But if they were, let's say, for example, working in the front office as part of planning, an event, for example, but they had administrative tasks involved in that, that would be fine. Does that make sense?
Total sense. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
clarifying.
Mhm.
Thank you. And Angie had a similar question. She asked if you could please define what a non-administrative project would be. As a theater company, our summer programming focuses on our summer youth conservatory for high school students and mostly administrative preparation for the upcoming fall season.
I
Yeah, if I
think,
could explain, oh,
yes,
sorry to interrupt you.
that would
If
help.
I could explain, traditionally, in years past, we would have a program assistant intern who, through the college internship program, and they would work sort of in assisting with our summer conservatory students, and they usually were graduated students from our conservatory with an interest in pursuing arts education
Mhm.
and sort of learning the back end of what goes into that.
Mhm.
Um, so when you said no
Yes.
administration, I thought, oh, but there's so much administration on the back end of arts education.
Yes.
But it
So
would be
we're
for a program that they're already familiar with.
correct. So we definitely recognize arts administration as a pathway, as we all do that every day here. But arts administration, arts education is totally fine as long as the student is learning, providing their own ideas,
Yeah,
contributing to some
they're like
larger
a
project.
TA. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
But
Thank you.
not running to get coffee, not just answering phones, not just, but definitely having the ability to contribute to a
Okay.
larger project in a creative or substantive way would be great.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. These are good questions. Christina asked, our program is usually hybrid, both online and in person. In the presentation, it said no remote work. Are there any exceptions to that? And I'll also just add, Ava asked if a home office could count as an acceptable host work site. And unfortunately, again, like we're implementing a national model created by Bloomberg Philanthropies. So no remote work is allowed. It must be in person. That also means no working from someone's home office, unless, I don't know, if it was a very robust out of your garage with a number of staff there, potentially. Again, like we're gonna have host sites. We're gonna visit the host sites to make sure that they're, something that is eligible for the program and would provide a rich experience for the interns. And really at the end of the day, I work from home. I totally get it. But for these experiences, we're looking for in-person experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have more to add, Mia?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, of course. Nicole asked, just to clarify, is Santa Monica eligible? I believe we're in SPA 5.
In year 2 and 3, yes.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Yeah.
Yes. I was noticing that on your I was like, maybe. But what I will say is that before we know it, it will be time to reapply for the new. So you can figure fall of next year will already be ramping up for the next cycle.
So true. And then Mickey asked, our main office is in DTLA, SPA 4, but we have a mobile summer camp during this internship period. One of our summer camp locations is in SPA 4, and the week of 4th of July will also be in SPA 4. The other weeks will not be in any of the 5 spas. However, there is a field trip for one day during the week of SPA 4. Will this be eligible? I'm confused. Are you saying that you have multiple sites but your home office is in SPA 4, and is that where the interns would be primarily located, or would they be going to multiple sites?
Let me clarify. So we have a mobile summer camp, and each week we move around to different areas within LA. So 2 of those weeks we will be in SPA 4. But the other weeks we will not be in any of those 5, the SPA 1, 2, 4, 6, or 7 that isn't during this term. But even during those weeks, they will have one day in SPA 4 because we take a field trip to downtown LA.
And curious, for the mobile summer camp, do you all meet up and have transportation? Like, transportation is our main.
Yes. So transportation is something that because we have high school and college age counselors for our summer camp, and they all need to find their way there. We don't provide that transportation.
Okay. I think this could be an eligible, workable situation. I would just be sure to clarify that in your application.
Okay. So we would have to make sure that the intern that we potentially get has their own source of transportation, or we would need to provide that transportation.
You need to provide that transportation.
We would need to provide that transportation. Okay, great. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Thank you.
And I would just offer that because the eligibility is about your principal office location, but consider even with the traveling camp, camping program or summer camp.
Yes, summer camp.
Summer camp. The idea here is to also ensure that there's not any situation or scenario where they're not able to be home like in a decent time, because the time has changed and so it gets dark earlier, for example. So let's say, for example, you were transporting the student, but they don't get back to the home office till 8 p.m.,
Okay.
that still is on that student to get home. And if
Mhm.
they're using public transportation, that's not something we would promote.
Okay, so
Or-
we have to provide transportation to our home office, not necessarily to that intern's home.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I don't know. We'll probably need to get a little bit more clarity on that one, particularly because of, kind of privacy concerns and things of that nature,
Mhm.
confidential information. But I definitely think this is a unique scenario that would probably need to be reviewed. Like internally, we just want to make sure that we're following the best course of action for this.
Mhm.
But if the more detail you can provide in your application would definitely help us with that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Okay, so Megan asked, I'm sorry to go back to this topic again. I was confused by the answer. We are an IRS designated 501c3 nonprofit as of March 2025. As such, we won't have a 990 until 2026, but we do have financial statements. Are we eligible to apply? Megan, yes, you do not need to have a 990. The 990 is only a requirement for those organizations that are serving as a fiscal sponsor for someone who's not a nonprofit. So yes to the fiscal financial statements as indicated in the guidelines, and no, you do not need to provide a 990.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it was a point of elimination for a grant we wanted to apply for with the county. So we just had to make sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Matt asked if there are arts cultural organizations that are not able to attend either of the webinars. Is there a process for them to apply to be a host site? Yes, Matt, as Mia mentioned, we're still, encouraging those folks who might have organizations that they think would make a good host site to promote this opportunity to them, because we still have 2 weeks left before applications are due. We will make a recording of this info session up onto our website. We would definitely encourage, in fact, make it mandatory that it is watched. For this first year, we were asking for folks to attend an info session because the program is so new. We wanted to make sure we were answering questions and providing as much information as possible.
Mhm.
We do have one more question in the Q&A from Mickey. If we are chosen, what if we cannot find an intern as we outreach? That's the final question.
That is a good question. And we are happy to make sure that you are supported in your outreach and recruitment efforts. As Shari and Mia, I think, have both mentioned, we are in this together. We are, even though we are building the plane as we fly it, it's not brand new. We have the blueprints, we have the specs, we have the materials. That is the level of support that we get from Bloomberg, and it isn't just the support from them, having run the program since 2012, but also the cohort of other cities that have been implementing this program, in which we are also getting support. So as we get support from these orgs, we're able to pass that support along to you. So I would say you are not alone in these efforts, and we're here to help troubleshoot.
I see a hand from Angie. Not sure if there's another, but also wanted to just flag something else when we mentioned about outreach. This program is also very unique because of the regional hub model that we're using. We need to have 10 interns in each region placed at 5 organizations. If you have organizations that you work with in your region and you think they would make a good host site for interns, encourage them to apply, because the simple fact of the matter is we need that hub to work, right? We need proximity. We need to be able to ensure that students are able to have a host site in that region, as well as access and be in proximity to the regional hub. And so your help is really needed in identifying some of those partners that specifically in the Antelope Valley and San Fernando Valley areas where everything is a little bit more spread out. So definitely could use your support, and just know, once again, we're always going to be partners in this work. So when things need to be refined, we're open to that feedback.
Andy, did you have a question?
Yeah, just one question. So I understand that 5 organizations will be awarded 2 interns through this program for each SBA. Um, do the 2 interns need to be working in tandem with one another under the same department, or can they be split? So there can be one, like,
Yes.
say, an education intern who's interested in arts education. There can be another who's interested in production and learning about pre-production and everything that goes into that. And they don't necessarily have to be there at the same time as each other. Excellent. Thank you
And
so
I think
much.
that's a great idea, to be as diverse in the learning so that those interns can support and learn from each other. And just keep in mind, when they go back to their regional hub, they'll have the opportunity to share those rich experiences with the rest of the group.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Are there any other questions? We still have some time.
Hi, sorry, this is Mickey again. I just wanted some clarification about the regional hub because I think you mentioned that the intern needs to be able to get to the regional hub as well for those 2 professional development days.
Those days are not your responsibility.
Okay,
No.
so there'll be some sort of way for the intern to get to the regional hub. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Are there any other questions? Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you all, women and gentlemen, so much for joining us on this lovely afternoon to hear about and ask questions about the Bloomberg Arts Internship Program. We're very excited to be able to offer this opportunity to our arts and cultural organizations as well as to our youth. And we look forward to building this program with all of you. As we mentioned, we will be uploading a recording of this video, answers to your questions in a PDF document, and a copy of the PowerPoint slides to our website. It's the same page where you go to find out how to apply. And if you have any other questions that come up to you later, you can send them to BAI at arts.lacounty.gov. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
Just want to say we're very excited to have you all consider applying. Have a great day.
Can I please ask one more question?
Yeah.
Since the 8 weeks has taken place over the summer, by rising high school seniors, do you mean graduating seniors are eligible or students entering their senior year are eligible?
That's correct.
So it's juniors to senior, juniors going into senior. Okay. Thank
That's right.
you.
Yes.
Thanks so much. I didn't notice any other partners from the Antelope Valley on here. I could just not know that anybody else is from the Antelope Valley. I am not an arts person. I'm just a high school district. So my goal is to go out and search for some art partners to partner with us since, this is directly gonna, benefit our students. So we're looking at 5 partners across the Antelope Valley. Is that correct?
That's our goal.
We'll need a larger pool than 5.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So I can think of like
we have
3.
a couple of other.
I can think of 3 right off the top of my head, but I'm just trying to rack my brain.
Hey, Erica, I work with Mission Opera out in Santa Clarita, and we have a lot of people in the Antelope Valley as well, and we are kind of looking to expand as well. If you want to give me an email as well, and maybe we can partner up.
Oh,
I love this.
Okay.
I
will
love
put
that.
I will put my email in the chat. If you want to send me an email, I oversee all of our work-based learning and dual enrollment programs for the Antelope Valley High School District, which is all the high school districts that aren't charters, basically.
That's
And
awesome.
so if you want to connect, we are one of our board members is really into getting the arts really back in schools. And so anything that we can do to support that for our students is a huge priority for our district right now. So
For sure.
I'm all
That's
about it. I'm
wonderful.
writing your info down now.
Thank you. And
all
just
right.
to note, we did have another info session. So there were some additional
Okay.
orders, but we have been doing some intentional outreach to the Antelope Valley because we
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
But we're very grateful for you. Thank you.
We are a little bit of a arts desert on top of
Yeah.
being just a desert. So, all right. Thank you all so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Erica. I will be in touch once we start high school recruitment.
Yeah, let me know.
All right.
I'm here to help whatever we can do to help benefit our students. I'm here for it.
Awesome.
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 Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Is anonymous participant still here? Because they just asked a question. I work with two organizations. One of them asked me to attend this webinar. I learned early on that they are not eligible. However, the other organization is eligible, I asked, and they are interested. I understand the webinar is required. Do I need to share their name?
No, they should just share the information back with that. It sounds like they're representing both organizations.
Yeah, I guess because
Yeah.
yeah. So if you're still
Yeah.
here, anonymous participant, just share the information. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Everybody's
Trickling off.
sharing on the chat still.
Okay.
Okay, I'm stopping recording now.